Oh yes, indeed, it is that time once again. Welcome to yet another amazing episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo. Hello, good morning. Hey guys. Hi, hey folks. Yeah, here I am. I'm on the island, the third island. It's the third island. there's the Florence Gold Farm Island. There's my base island, and this is the third island. And I don't know what's on this island yet. I've been abusing this island. I've been abusing it. When I first started out, I came over here and I took a lot of the sand that was on this island. I took all the sand that was on this island to make all the glass over there. And then I was running out of, land because it's a tiny island. That's a tiny island. I was running out of land. So I came back here and I took all the dirt and I brought it back to my island. So yeah, my island is looking fat, but only because I came to this island and took everything off of this island and dragged it back to my island. That's the reason why. So I come over here now, I'm like, yeah, I feel bad. It looks terrible. I planted some trees, but there wasn't enough dirt for the trees to live on. So I had to transplant a little bit of dirt. So right now I'm trying to rehabilitate this island. I was really mean to it. I took all the dirt, I took all the sand, and now it's just like a barren rock in the ocean. But it's like right there, right? It's like, how can I do this to my neighbor? It's awful. So yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to rehabilitate this island and make it useful. So that's one thing. The other thing I learned, I figured out by watching Wattles. Wattles. He's an American YouTuber who does Minecraft videos, and he is pretty good at it. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good YouTuber, and he taught me that. Did you know? I did not know this. That you see that right there? Flight duration 3, as opposed to flight duration 1. I did not know, but oh God, I'm so full of stuff. Hold on. I did not know, but you could make different speeds or different durations for your rockets. Oh, I'm gonna turn this down. Yeah, you can change the speed or the length of your rocket, how long it burns, and that's great because the rockets that I was using were always so short. I was always angry that I couldn't do the things they did on YouTube. I'm like, how do they do that? That's just so amazing. And then I found out, hey, it's because they are using like a long-lasting rocket. Yeah, look at this stuff. Sorry, I was like building. And these long-lasting rockets, because they last so long, I don't need to burn them as fast as I do the other kind. So I don't need to take 2 stacks with me. Oh wait, these are different. This is flight duration 1. Alright. Okay. Let's see, what else do I need? I need food. So I have food, I have everything. Okay, I have everything. Sorry, I was really late getting ready. I slept in today. So, there's a few things I made. Alright, I hated going over here every time to use the elevator. It always seemed counterintuitive. So I added an elevator here to my base. Instead of running over there, it's like right here. So I don't have to go anywhere. And I can just go to the nether portal instead of having to run all the way over here. So I'll probably take this one out because this is in the way. Like, these elevators are in the way. And it's kind of neat walking over like the center of everything. So that's one change. The rockets, and then what else did I change that I was working on? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I finally changed this elevator to be a little more modern. Instead of that ugly thing I had before, like I actually worked on this, so it looks kind of cool. I think I need to work on it more. Probably make this all glass also, like colored glass. But yeah. I have my models right here. I have my machine of labor. I didn't explain how this works, right? I mean, it looks cool, right? Yeah. You dig up some rock, some cobblestone. Let me see. You grab some cobblestone. So insert 64 cobblestone, receive 1 emerald. This is Pagokido's labor capitalization simulator. You take your stack of cobblestone, you chuck it in. It starts processing. But what's going on, right? Let's go look. This is designed by Riley Byron, Advanced Vending Machine. So you come down into the bowels of the machine. Now you see up there is where I chucked it in. And this is where it's stored. And this whole funny thing right here, this is how it counts how many there are. Like I want 64 cobblestone, so there's 63 on this side and 1 on this side. And it'll check how many come through, and if enough comes through, it'll pop out an emerald up there again. It's a machine, right? Yeah. And there's no such thing as miniaturization in Minecraft. See, and there's the emerald, yeah. And then, so I would go to work, I'd labor, I would take my sticks, I would transform nature into a commodity, put the commodity into the machine, receive capital, well, capital, whatever, and I would stick the capital in the machine, and then I would insert it, and then I would get food out of it, a potato. And then that's how come I could never ever, if I was trying to labor and make wealth, it would never ever work. Because the way the machine is set up, the way this is set up, it will never work. So I can keep working all my life. I can labor. I'm not going to generate any wealth because of the way this system is set up. It gives you so little for all the work you put in. So the idea then is to change the wealth to like this. So instead of getting potatoes for your work, you get $15 an hour instead of small potatoes. You know, you get it? Instead of these small potatoes for all that work, you get $15 an hour. And I was watching, and it looks like the Senate parliamentarian in the Senate said you can't do that under reconciliation. So when that happened to George W. Bush, what he did was go, oh, because he wanted to put in tax cuts. He wanted to put in tax cuts and use the reconciliation process in the Senate to get past the filibuster. Remember, in the Senate nowadays, I don't know why, but you need 60 votes to pass legislation. And in a two-party system, 60 votes is a lot. It's a lot in a two-party system. So essentially, that gives a lot of power to the minority party. Whoever's not in power has a lot of power to stop legislation from happening. So the Democrats can't pass any legislation the normal way because that would take 60 votes. And under a two-party system, that means you need Republicans. And Republicans, as you know, are Nazis. And they hate the United States. So you are not going to get co-governorship with a party that wants to destroy your country. It's not going to happen. Republicans are Nazis. You can't co-govern with a party that wants to destroy your country. So they were gonna get around this, right? There's a process called reconciliation that allows you to pass a budget with a simple majority. You don't need 60 votes. You just need 51 votes. And Democrats technically have 51 votes. They technically have 51 votes, right? But so if they can get it in the reconciliation process, they can pass whatever they want. Well, the parliamentarian, I don't know, the person who studies the rules of the Senate, I don't know, came up and said, you can't do this because $15 an hour minimum wage does not impact the federal budget. So since it doesn't impact the federal budget, you can't do it. Now, when they said that to George W. Bush wanted to cut taxes, and the parliamentarian said, no, you can't do that. That doesn't affect the budget. George W. Bush, he fired the parliamentarian and did it anyways. Right? That's how you do it. That's how you exercise power. Because there's no law that says you have to follow the parliamentarian. There's no part of the Constitution that says anything about a parliamentarian. That is entirely up to the Senate, right? The Senate decides how it's going to run. And right now, the leader of the Senate is Chuck Schumer. So Chuck Schumer decides how the Senate is going to run all the time. All the time. And so when that happened to George W. Bush and the Republicans back, in the aughts, the Republicans just fired the parliamentarian and did it anyways. And that's how come we got the Bush tax cuts, because they passed it through reconciliation by firing the parliamentarian. Okay, so now the same thing happens now, right? The same thing happens now. Democrats want to pass a $15 an hour minimum wage. The last time George W. Bush broke the rules to help the rich, right? He cut taxes to help the rich. Now we're coming up. Now the rules come up and say, no, you can't do that. It's against the rules. But Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden won't do it. They won't fire the parliamentarian and put in reconciliation $15 an hour anyways. They won't do it. They won't do it. It would help poor people, so they won't do it. If it helps rich people, they'll do it. But if it helps poor people, they won't do it. They'll break the rules to help rich people, but they won't break the rules to help poor people. And it's not even breaking the rules. There's no rule in there that says you have to follow the parliamentarian. It's just an advisory. You can totally ditch them. But no, Democrats don't want to. They throw away their power. They throw away their power. So now Bernie Sanders is trying to figure out a way, how do we get around this? How do we get around this? And the way Bernie Sanders says is like, well, we can create a tax incentive. Basically, we'll say, sure, we don't have a federal mandate. We don't have a mandate to force employers to pay their workers a minimum wage. They're saying we don't have, we don't have the votes to pass that kind of law. So instead, what Bernie Sanders wants to do is change the tax code so that, you don't have to pay your workers $15 an hour, but your taxes are going to go up if you don't. So it's more like a stick approach. It's more like, sure, you don't have to follow the rules, but we're going to charge you more in taxes. And I don't think that's going to work, because businesses have gotten really good. Well, it's just more work for businesses to have to keep up with. Administrative burden is a real thing. Administrative burden, following the rules, when you have lots of rules and regulations, it gets hard. It's a lot of work. And a lot of times that work is almost unnecessary. So administrative burden is a real thing. It's the thing that stops poor people from receiving their benefits. I was reading something on Twitter that like 1 in 5 people who are eligible for food stamps don't get them because the process is too hard to operate, to have to work out how do you get food stamps. It shouldn't be that hard to get food stamps. It shouldn't be hard at all. It should be super, super easy. And yet, we have all these administrative burdens. Fill out 50,000 forms. We need 17 forms of identification. We need 3 witnesses and a birth certificate. Like, my God, that kind of burden would just cause a poor person to be like, you know, I don't even want the food stamps. Never mind. And that kind of barrier, it's invisible because it's legal technically. That kind of barrier is all over the place in the United States. It's all over the place. Like for me right now, right? My show's a little bit late because I slept in. I slept in because the night before I had an asthma attack in the middle of the night. And when I have an asthma attack in the middle of the night, it means I don't sleep. I don't get enough oxygen. And I get to the point where I wake up because I'm not getting enough air. And then I have to figure out why can't I fall asleep? I'm like, oh, because I can't breathe. So I have to wake myself up, get out of bed, walk over to my asthma spray, give myself an asthma puff to breathe again. I'm like, oh, I can breathe. And then go back to bed and try to sleep again. Try to fall back to sleep. All right. This requires, an asthma spray. Well, that requires a prescription. Well, I need a refill. Well, I need to go visit my doctor to get a refill. And my doctor, right now we have all these COVID restrictions. Asthma doesn't go away. I'm not abusing it. It's been like months and months and months since my last refill, but yet I have this burden. And like I need to get over it in order to get my asthma spray, because if I don't, I'm going to be in big trouble. Like But man, I got to overcome the burden, the administrative burden that our society has placed upon receiving medical care. Because, like, do I have the right insurance? Did I pay my insurance? Only certain places I can go for this, right? Only certain places carry my insurance. Which burden? Gotta juggle the burdens. Did I pay my premium this month? Did I sign up during the open enrollment period? Like, there's only a short time, and then I'm locked in for a year. Like, oh my God, these burdens are stupid. No other country does this. No other country, only the United States. So yeah, I'm going off. Well, yeah, because I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. But like, the odds are stacked against poor people in the United States. They have a lot of invisible burdens placed upon them. It's really, really expensive to be poor in the United States. And it's designed to be a trap so that the poorer you are, the harder it is to climb out. Like, because maybe you were born in the middle class, right? And, so you have 2.5% of all the wealth. Ooh, big shot, right? Ooh, big shot. Born middle class. So instead of getting a stone pickaxe, you get a netherite pickaxe. Ooh, so you can work real good, right? So instead of spending hours, I can do it real quick. The other poor sap, he has a crappy pickaxe. He has a stone pickaxe. So he is born here at the bottom, right? So his family couldn't give him anything because they have no wealth. So he had to make a stone pickaxe, and when he goes to work, it's real bad. He's real slow. But me, being in the middle class, I got a netherite pickaxe. So the work I do is better, and then I get promotions that the poorer people don't get because they have stone pickaxes. So poor people stay poor. You see how that works? And the American system is designed to keep poor people poor. And like, it kills me because you think like, oh, there's a glimmer of hope. It's a glimmer of hope. You see the Democrats have a trifecta. There's a glimmer of hope, and then like they blow it off, man. They just blow it. They mess it up. Like, I haven't heard Joe Biden say anything about canceling student loan debt. That's the number one way you're gonna help people out by canceling student loan debt. That's like instantly, and you can do that with an executive order. That's all you need is an executive order. Joe Biden can do it tomorrow if he wanted to. But no, he'd rather like let a whole generation of young Americans drown under debt. He's like, he sees the debt, he sees the poverty trap. He sees that, oh, the poorer you are, the harder it is to climb out. Let me keep it this way. That's what Joe Biden says. $15 an hour would have went a long way in helping poor people get out of poverty. But Democrats don't want to do it. Because because they don't want to use it through reconciliation, right? Joe Manchin from West Virginia and some other woman, some other senator from Arizona, neither one of them want to get rid of the filibuster. So you know that 60 vote threshold I said you need to pass anything? Well, that gives a lot of power to the Nazis, right? Because that gives a lot of power to the minority party. And then you can say, well, wait a minute, Pogokiro, weren't the Democrats the minority party during the Trump years? Couldn't they exercise their veto power? And I say, yes, they could have. They could have if Mitch McConnell was at all interested in governing. But Mitch McConnell was not at all interested in passing any legislation. The entire time of the Trump years, all Mitch McConnell did was confirm judges, the federal judges that he denied Obama. He saved up the huge backlog with Obama, and once Obama was out and Trump was in, then he filled all those judgeships with Trump judges. So our judiciary is messed up. McConnell didn't pass any legislation. What good is a veto power if they never pass legislation? McConnell is not interested in governing. He's interested in destroying the United States. So yeah, the Democrats had that veto power when they're in the minority, but that only works if the other party wants to govern. And Republicans don't want to govern. They want to destroy. So now the Democrats are in power. And we have this filibuster, and we need to get rid of it because it only helps the Nazis. Well, the rep from what's her name? Arizona Senator. Arizona State Senate, no. Arizona Federal Senators. Okay, the first one. Kirsten Sinema has vowed that she wants to work with Nazis. She put out a statement saying she wants to work with the Nazis. So like, what are we gonna do? Right? Like, as a member of your party, it says I want to work with the Nazis, and I'm gonna help the Nazis stop the Democrats from passing any legislation. That's what Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin have said. They want to work with the Nazis to stop Democrats from passing legislation. Any legislation that Democrats want to pass, Sinema and Manchin want a compromise with Nazis. And that's the problem, right? That's our problem. So it's not like the Democrats can just pass legislation through the normal process, because there's two senators in their party that's stopping it. Like another big problem coming down the pike is that after the Democrats got the trifecta in 2020, all the Republican states are passing big voting restrictions to stop voters, to stop democracy. Remember, Republicans hate democracy. They do not want people voting, right? They're dictators. They're Nazis. They're Confederates. They are enemies of democracy. So they're passing all these laws in all their states to stop people from voting, so that the next time, 2022, they can take back power. Because if you stop people from voting, Republicans win. Okay. What would normally stop them from doing that is the Voting Rights Act that was passed back in the 60s, right? There was a Voting Rights Act. This act said, if you're a former Confederate states, if you make any changes to your voting law, it has to go through it has to go through a voting rights commission first to make sure that you're not going to disenfranchise people by passing your laws. And this stopped a lot of former Confederate states from disenfranchising Black Americans and other minorities. It stopped them. While John Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, said, you know what, I think racism is dead. We don't need this anymore. So John Roberts got rid of it. He got rid of that part of the Voting Rights Act. And when he did, all the Confederate states put in their voting restrictions again. And that was all over the country. So it was amazing that the Democrats managed to get a trifecta because of all these voting restrictions. So now that Democrats have a trifecta, what they need to do is pass a new Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to stop these Confederate states' governments from killing democracy. That would reimpose the restriction on Confederate states that would stop them from passing these laws until they're reviewed. Because these laws that these Confederate states pass are only to stop people from voting. Now, the Voting Rights Act, in order for this to pass, right, you're gonna need your 50 votes. You're gonna need your 60 votes, unless you get rid of the filibuster, right? If you keep the filibuster, you need 60 votes. But if you get rid of the filibuster, you only need 51. Well, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, they don't really like black people. They don't really want black people to vote. So what they're going to do is they're going to work with the Nazis. Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are going to work with the Nazis to make sure that the John Lewis Voting Rights Act is not passed. If it passes, that means Nazis won't have power, right? And that upsets Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Both Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema want a strong Nazi party. They want to work with the Nazis to stop Black Americans from voting, and by keeping the filibuster, by joining with the Nazis to keep the filibuster, they will ensure that the Nazis take power in 2022 by stopping people from voting. So Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are not your friends. They are with the Nazis. They have caucused with the Nazis. I don't know what to tell you, right? How am I gonna defend America when I'm sitting here watching us, get murdered by a bunch of Nazis? I can't believe how many Nazis are in this country. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You'd think they had learned. They would have learned. All right, let me go look at my stuff here. But here's the thing, right? I tried talking to a baby boomer about this. One of the boomers, right? I tried talking to a boomer about this, and what did the boomers say to me? Oh, I don't like Democrats. I think they're all corrupt. I'm like, oh, really? So you think Democrats are corrupt? And then the boomer I was talking to said, yeah, I think the Democrats, they used to be good, but they're not good anymore. They used to be for the people, but they're not for the people anymore. I'm like, that's really interesting. So when you say Democrats, do you mean all the Democrats? Or which ones? And he give me some names, be specific. And the person was like, well, I don't know any specific Democrat. No. I'm like, okay, so Democrats in general you think are bad? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, why do you think they're bad? She says, I just think they're corrupt. I'm like, yeah, okay, but what's a scandal? What's something they did that was really bad? Tell me about this. And she's like, well, I don't know anything specifically. I just think they're corrupt. I'm like, but you don't know why. You don't know who, but you just kind of think. And you don't know what, but you just think is there. I'm like, okay, but you said that they used to be good, but now they're bad. When were they good? When's a time when they're good and that they changed to bad? Can you give me a time frame? And she's like, I don't know. I can't really say that. So this baby boomer, who I talk to a lot and who I inform about stuff, tells me that they're against the Democrats. Not any particular Democrat, not any specific Democrat, but in general, a general feeling of all Democrats She has this general feeling that they're all corrupt. There's not any one specific thing she can pinpoint. She doesn't really know why. She can't point to anything to say why, but she just has that feeling. And she doesn't know who, but it's just kind of there. And she doesn't know when it changed. I don't know. So like the specifics, none of the specifics are there. But the general feeling is very strong, and she holds on to the general feeling. She can't specify anything, but she'll give me the general feeling, which is weird, because it reminds me of something. I've seen this before. Here, let me show you a clip.
That's what happens when you use HV bullets in one of these things. Oh, yeah.
It's no use arresting me. I'm not...
Hold on. You can't see nothing. Oh, no. Okay. Hey, Bateau, what's up? All right. Grab this like that. Fit it on the screen. Yeah, all right, here. Stop. All right, listen to this.
That's what happens when you use HV bullets in one of these things. Oh, yeah.
It's no use arresting me. I'm not talking to any goddamn cops.
Talk? And just what are you gonna talk about? You don't even know your own name, you stupid dickhead.
Huh?
Listen.
Can you remember your mother's name or what she looks like? Or how about where you were born? Don't you have any happy childhood memories? Do you even know who you are?
Ghost-hacked humans are so pathetic, it's a shame. And this poor bastard's been hacked pretty badly.
So in Ghost in the Shell, in this movie, in this anime, a hacker, you can hack into people's brains and change their memories. And then because their memories are changed, you can get them to do stuff for you because you changed they remember differently, right? You changed their memories, they remember differently. And people, people condition the information they received based on the information they used to have, their memories. So if you can control people's memories, you can control the way they behave in the future. And this person was ghost hacked. So they believed something really strongly, but they didn't have any specifics as to why they felt that way. Because they've been ghost hacked. This is an old movie. Watch again.
What's a simulated experience again?
Well, all your memories about your wife and daughter are false. They're like a dream. Someone's taken advantage of you. They were trying to make you ghost hack into some government officials. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But that can't be.
I've been to your home. It's a bachelor's apartment. No one's there.
But I already told you. I rented that room when I separated from my wife.
I checked the records. You've been living there over 10 years. The truth is, you've never had a wife or kid. Like he said.
See, notice there's the Basset Hound, and then there's the pretty woman, right? On a TV.
He said they aren't real. They're a simulated experience.
A Basset Hound and a...
Look, this is the photo you showed to your coworker. Who do you see?
I had a picture of her. She was there. She was smiling like an angel.
What's her name? How old is she? Where'd you meet your wife and when did you marry her? I'm sorry to put you through this, pal. Come on. Who do you see?
The Basset Hound, and then the happy couple in the back see how he conflated all those memories? He feels he was projecting this couple onto himself. Or he got confused, I guess.
This is all a lie. What happens? Will I get my old memory back?
Your original memory will never be fully restored, and there might be residual simulation. We don't have the technology yet to handle Cymex erasures. I'm sorry.
So you can look at the Russian disinformation campaign as a kind of ghost hacking. I mean, they knew this stuff back in the 90s, 80s, whatever. The Russians were doing it back then. So what this woman was describing to me was the same thing as this ghost hacking. She had bad feelings toward the Democrats, but she couldn't specify which ones, and she didn't know why. She couldn't pinpoint any specific thing, and she couldn't say when. She didn't know who, what, when, where, or why, but it was there, and she acted upon that feeling. She didn't like Democrats because of that. Now, I don't necessarily like all Democrats either, right? Because as you can see, not all just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean you're on board. There's neoliberal Democrats. Like Joe Manchin is a Democrat, but he wants to work with Nazis. So is he really a Democrat? Kirsten Sinema says she's a Democrat, but she wants to work with Nazis. Is she really a Democrat? So, yeah, that's what the Russians did to Americans en masse. They fed them disinformation so that they're living in a fantasy world and that it has no connection to the real world. And if you try to tell them that they're wrong, they'll get aggressive about it. So wait a minute. How did this fantasy world come about? How do people get, this simulated virtual experience? How did that even come about? Well, let me tell you about the guy named Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch is a media mogul tycoon from Australia, and he owns a bunch of media in the Anglosphere. He owns media in the UK, Australia, and the USA. So in the USA, he owns the New York Post. So what that means is that he can print whatever bullshit he wants and then refer it back to the New York Post as saying some people are saying. So he basically launders disinformation with his own community newspapers. He also has the Wall Street Journal, which has become a lot more fascist, and a bunch of newspapers. And in the UK, his media empire, this is how he spreads his disinformation to put people in that virtual simulated experience where everything's wrong. But this is how he makes Nazis. He turns people into Nazis this way. And in the United States, he owns Fox. So if you know about how Fox Entertainment has brainwashed people in the United States, well, here you go. He's a Nazi. Tucker Carlson is on Fox News, and Tucker Carlson is a Nazi. He's a white supremacist. Totally out in the open. It's out in the open. They're Nazis. This is the Nazi station. If you're a Nazi, you watch Fox News or Fox Entertainment. So, yeah, who's in charge? Kevin Rupert Murdoch. And his son, Lachlan Murdoch. They own 14%, and they also hold 39% of the voting power. So they have a huge amount of power. Kevin Rudd called the Murdoch media monopoly a cancer eating at the heart of the Australian democracy, which begs the question, how much do the Murdochs really influence elections? Obviously, it's hard to quantify a media organization's impact on elections and or democracy as we know it, but it's near impossible to deny the power that Murdoch holds. Fox News basically fueled Trump's rise to power and continued to be a strong supporter of him until he lost last week's election. Meanwhile, in the UK, Murdoch had to face a British inquiry into media ethics over concern that he had misused his power to influence politics. However, he claimed he never asked the leader for anything. Liar! He uses his media. And back home in Australia, News Corp has been slammed for their unbalanced reporting of the recent Victorian lockdown. Cough, Dictator Dan. So Rupert Murdoch Murdoch's losses on the New York Post are staggering, over $1 billion since he bought it. Yet, he's happy to pay for political leverage. There's no equivalent on the U.S. left. exploiting unprofitable but established news brand for partisan purposes. That's right. You know, I used to drive from Carson City, Nevada down to LA a lot because that's where my grandma used to live. And I would drive my car down there. And I would drive through the central or through the what do they call it? Oh man, I can't remember. It's been a lot of years. I drive down through from Carson City through Lake Topaz, Mono Lake, past Mammoth Lake to Bishop, then through Independence, and then all those little towns to Mojave, to Mojave, then Lancaster, Palmdale, then over to through LA to Gardena, through the valley to yeah. And when I was going through those desert areas with like nothing in it, those empty valleys, I always got radio stations playing right-wing propaganda. I would always hear right-wing propaganda radio stations playing, no matter where I went. Everywhere through the country, through the most desolate areas, I can always get right-wing radio, filling my head with propaganda against America. So yeah, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. That the right wing is willing to spend money on propaganda just to get propaganda out there. It's a real thing. And I know it because I experienced it in my travels through the United States. I mean, there's no one living out there, but they have radio stations pumping out the propaganda. Merrick Garland. There's a direct line from Oklahoma City forward to January 6th. Oops. And there's another line from Oklahoma City all the way back to Reconstruction and the Ku Klux Klan crimes against the newly freed slaves. So what Merrick Garland is saying is it's all about white supremacy. And Merrick Garland is going to be the Attorney General. So remember all those investigations that Billy Barr did, the outlaw Billy Barr did, to cover up the crimes of Donald Trump? Well, hopefully Merrick Garland, who's aware of white supremacy, he's woke, right? He's aware of white supremacy. Hopefully he can do something. I don't know what, right? I feel pretty bad right now. I feel pretty bad. Yeah, because Mohammed bin Salman got away with it. The White House chose not to penalize the Crown Prince directly, despite the Intel report concluding he approved the operation that led to Khashoggi's murder. One senior official said that to do so would put the U.S. in an extremely hostile position with regard to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Well, yeah, dude, they're bad. They're bad. Why are we friends with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? Why are we friends with them? They're bad people. They're anti-democratic. They're not our friends. We don't need their oil. We don't need their oil. We don't really need them. Why are we friends with them? That's stupid. Do you remember what he did last time? Do you remember this? He's buddy-buddy. He's buddy-buddy with Putin. Look at that. Look at that. Let me zoom. Can I zoom? No, I can't zoom. But yeah, dude, he's buddy-buddy with Putin. Oh, yeah, dude. So did you see what happened at CPAC? At that CPAC, they made a stage design in a Nazi symbol. So this is just confirming that, you know, hey guys, hey everyone, the Nazis are being overtly Nazi. In Georgia, they want to suppress the vote in Georgia. So they end automatic voting registration. They repeal no excuse mail-in voting. They add voter ID, restrict ballot drop boxes. They cut early voting. So it's clear Georgia Republicans are Nazis and Confederates. They're traitors. They traitors to the United States, and they don't want people voting. They're trying to stop democracy. Because, you know, because Nazis don't want you to vote. It's, you know, it's obvious. Nazis don't want you to vote. Punch Nazis. Nazis are the worst. It's obvious Nazis are the opposite of the United States. And Republicans are all about being Nazis. Republicans are Nazis. Republicans are your enemy. They want to hurt you. Did you see the Nazi rally yesterday in Salem? So yeah, here we have a bunch of Nazis here in Oregon, northern Nevada, in Oregon. One of these Nazis is named Megan Marie Stevens. Let me get me out of the way. Megan Marie Stevens is on parole right now. She was arrested for property crimes, crimes against children. She's charges for assault, and yeah, she was forbidden by her parole officer to attend any more meetings, any more stuff. But look, yesterday there she is.
What's up, guys? I don't even need to sing. I'm loud as hell, right?
There she is. There she is. That's her yesterday, February 27th, at the Oregon State Capitol, raising money against her parole. Wow. What would happen if this video gets to her parole officer? Maybe we should find out. I mean, look she's doing it out in public, right? She's breaking the law in public. These are Nazis. She's a Nazi. So what's the other problem? The other problem is that there's this other Nazi. Who's the other Nazi? This guy right here, Eric Oakers. Eric Oakers. Look at him. He's ugly, dude. Look at this white supremacist Nazi motherfucker. Screw this guy, all right? He's a member of Cops Northwest, close friend of fellow neo-Nazi Jeremy Roberts. Jeremy Roberts is a total Nazi and woman hater, too. He's a prolific criminal with an extensive criminal record, spanning multiple decades, currently facing property-related charges for vandalizing a black-owned business in Salem. This guy is a motherfucker. This guy's a Nazi. Look what this motherfucker did. Oh, wait, no, I don't have the picture. Yeah, well, anyways, that guy is threatening on social media. So everyone take a good look at oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Everyone take a good look. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Eric Ollinger's social media. That's his alt. You see it up there? That's his alt. Eric alt media. His alt. Is he alt-right? Is he Nazi? Yeah. And that's a flyer, right? That's a flyer to let people know about who the Nazis. There's Jamie Roberts. Jamie Roberts! Jamie Roberts! So, oh, there's Corey. There's Carrie Wyatt. So here's a flyer to let the people know about it. And Eric Oakers has got the picture here. Look at this. He's got a weapon. That's a weapon. This Nazi is showing himself with a weapon. He's saying, yeah, I'm a Nazi. He's saying, I'm a dangerous Nazi, is what this Eric Oakers guy is saying. And what's this right here? Oops. What's this right here? That's pepper spray. Ah. So what this Nazi is saying is that he's aware that we're aware that he's a Nazi, and he's afraid. That's good, Nazi. You should be afraid. We're gonna let the police know that your buddy here broke her parole. So be afraid, Nazi. Go ahead, try something. I dare you. What else do we got here? Where are you, Eric? Where are you? Yeah, dude. Americans hate Nazis. We hate Nazis. So what else do we got here? Yeah, Nazis. Fuck Nazis. I think that's about it. Okay, everyone. Yeah, you got to understand where we are as a country. Like, the failure to deal with the white supremacy insurrection is gonna have repercussions. And you have to be ready for it. And so get ready, right? We're entering into spring. And it'll be March. And March is typically a very interesting time because now we're starting to wake up again out of the winter slumber. And it's going to be some interesting times. So until then, be safe out there. Peace. Pogo Kiddo out.